What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another epically epic episode of Nerdy Urges. I am Johnny Wolf. With me today, Mr. Spanish J.
Hello.
All right. So, last episode we talked about Invincible, one of the most epic comic book adaptations known to man as of recently. But in in light of comic book adaptations, we are here to discuss the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or more accurately, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse.
Mm,
Yeah, I know. Like the,
mm.
the ending of Loki, Kang the Conqueror, we have so much laid out for us. And with the new trailers for Eternals, Shang-Chi, and, Black Widow, which came out recently.
Hmm.
And I mean, even though Black Widow didn't really play much into the multiverse part, but
It did build into this is what's coming
yeah,
because it looks like Valentina is trying to recruit people.
yeah.
So, like, she already recruited John Walker and Yelena. So, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation of whether they're going to be the Thunderbolts or if they're going to be the Dark Avengers.
I'm I'm
Um,
I'm hoping more for the Thunderbolts than the Dark Avengers.
me too.
Yeah,
Me
cuz
too.
cuz I mean, the Avengers, like the OG Avengers, Hulk, Iron Man, all of them, like they're basically like disbanded right now. They're like all
Hmm.
going their separate ways because, two of them are dead. Well, three of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Three
But
of them.
yeah, I know 3 of the principal 6 are gone. So, I'll,
Yeah, it's only Hulk, Thor, and Hawkeye.
yeah. And well, actually, and well, no, the principal 6. So yeah, Hulk, Thor, and Hawkeye of the principal 6, they're gone. But now we have these new Avengers. We have Wand. We still have Thor and Hulk and Hawkeye, like you said,
Hawkeye.
and we have Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and does I don't know. Does Doctor Strange count, or does he belong more towards the sorcerers?
I think he belongs more to sorcerers.
Yeah, he's like an honorary Avenger in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if
I mean, all technically all of them are because Cap said Avengers assemble,
Yeah,
and
again, one of the most epic moments in comic book movie history. I
yeah,
was screaming my ass off in the
there
theater.
was no that scene still gives me chills.
It does goosebumps every time, but yeah,
So yeah, I think you know, um, the the broad spectrum of everything is going to be really really interesting to see where they're going to go because you're right. Loki just ended. Kang was explained. Um, Sylvie killed Kang. Spoilers, sorry.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Spoiler alert
uh,
for the whole rest of this podcast.
um, and then it opens the multiverse. I don't know if you've seen the videos where like WandaVision and Loki, if you start the last episode at the same exact time, they both happen at the same exact time where she gets her Scarlet Witch powers and becomes the Nexus being, and then Kang is like, oh, well, I knew what was going to happen up until this moment.
Yeah, that like
So,
that like Scarlet Witch. Not a lot of people realize that at first. Scarlet Witch, awakening and becoming the Scarlet Witch was basic. Because here's the thing: Scarlet Witch in the comics, in the MCU, she's basically walking, talking Reality Stone.
mhm.
Like she can literally manipulate reality at will, and when she fully awakened and was able to gain conscious control of her powers, that set off a rift in the universe, and that's where Kang was like, "What the fuck? I don't know anything. Why is my all-knowing ability suddenly gone?" And then Scarlet Witch is there, like, "Oh, well, this is bad."
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
I,
can
I, I
and can we just agree that Jonathan Majors slammed that role, and that
he did brilliant.
it was so good. Like in that little bit of screen time he had, it was so good. We were thriving with questions. Like there were so many questions, so much laid out. He answered so much but so little. And that's the perfect way to do it in a comic book
Mhm.
movie. It really is.
I think he killed it because he for two reasons. One, he was just so cool, calm, and collect the whole time. Which someone who is all knowing would be. And I think he also killed it because when he explained the different variants of himself, he was like, I'm the one who, kind of wanted everything to be okay, where there are other variants of me who, like, are, more malicious and more, like, villainous. And I think he did a good job of playing like, listen, I'm the bad guy, but not really.
Yeah. Like, if anything,
Eh,
that variant of Kang that they were dealing with was more like the anti-hero of all the
yeah,
Kangs. But he was just suppressing what would have been literally millions times worse.
yeah,
Because
and
and not a
I,
lot of people know, like, I don't know very much about Kang from the comics, but my grand concept of him is that he's basically like a time parasite.
yeah, all I remember from the comics is he's Nathaniel Richards.
Yeah.
That's who he is, and he's Reed Richards and Susan Storm's son. Um, and he gets taken to that century by Agatha to teach him how to use his powers. I could be completely wrong on the back end of that, but from what I remember, that's what it was. And then he eventually becomes King the Conqueror and comes back for some reason. I don't remember why, but the one thing that I'm super, super, super excited about is um, obviously Kang is Kang. So does that mean that we're going to have a POC Susan Storm or a POC Reed Richards?
See,
I,
that's one of
I'm
the
about it. I'm all about it.
I'm all about that too. Like
I think that that would be
like with Fan
brilliant.
Four Stick, I was completely on board with a POC Johnny Storm. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Michael B. Jordan, just about slams every role he
Yeah.
gets. He's a brilliant actor. Miles Teller killed it. Kate Mara killed it, and whoever it was playing the Thing, like I commend him for his acting, but the CGI, the design,
Hmm.
like and the writing. That's the problem with a lot of comic book movies these days. You get these brilliant actors, brilliant you have these like brilliant actors, brilliant screenwriters, brilliant directors, but it just fails to poor
Hmm.
execution. They rely too much on one thing at a time in every
Yep.
segment of the movie, and that's where it fails.
I think, to be honest, I think that the Fantastic Four movie made by the MCU is probably going to break the internet.
It really will. Like,
I think it's going to be incredible.
yeah, and I honestly would not, like you said, a POC Susan Storm, Reed Richards. I would not mind either one. Hell, you could POC all the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and I'd be completely fine with that.
Yeah,
I like how they did that. I like how they were just like, you know what, boom, here's what we're gonna do, and we're just gonna leave it up to you, and we're gonna leave it in the air because not many people know that he's Nathaniel Richards, and like some people want to just like watch the show, so they watch the show and they want to be like involved in it and everything, or they just follow the MCU for the MCU, but like seeing that as somebody who has some sort of knowledge about it, you're like, oh shit, does that mean this is going to be amazing? What's going to happen?
yeah.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it keeps you inquiring as to like what will the future bring of the MCU.
Or futures in this case, because
That's right.
you never know. And given that it's a multiverse, one could argue that because of that, now any and all Marvel movies that are made are technically headcanon at the very least to the MCU.
That's true. I didn't
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah, you can argue that, especially now that Disney owns Fox, and
That's right.
yeah, and they have a handshake with Sony, to say the least. But
Well, speaking of Sony, like, I've seen other influencers like Macy Windu and Straw Hat and, theories. They're like, where is the trailer? And they're right. There's 4 months till the movie's supposed to release, and there's no trailer, nothing at all. And I was like, oh, they'll show it at the Black Widow premiere if it plays in the theaters. Played in the theaters, nothing.
makes sense.
I was like,
Black Widow's a Spider-Man.
and so maybe they'll do it because Shang-Chi releases when?
Let's see. Eternals is in November, and Shang-Chi, I believe, is in Christmas.
Okay, well, yeah,
Oh wait, no,
because
Spider-Man: No Way Home is supposed to come out in December. So
December, yeah. So it's got to be. So I think it's Eternals, then Shang-Chi, then Spider-Man.
yeah,
So they're probably going to show it in the Eternals. They have to
they
because
better.
I mean, and the thing that I find really interesting is that they've opened the multiverse now.
Yeah.
And now the next show that they're going to have is What If. And I think what's going to happen is that's actually going to tie in to going into the multiverse, because it starts off with
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, and then he falls down. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to realize, holy crap, what the hell is happening? What has happened to the sacred timeline? And from there, we're going to go into where, like, I feel like that's going to pick up, or I'm sorry, Spider-Man No Way Home is going to pick up right where What If leaves off.
Exactly. Like, because this was my brilliant theory from where I saw the trailer of What If. What If was literally just the going down the list of all those realities that just opened at the end of Loki, and like I'm just thinking. See, the biggest question when everybody saw the What If trailer was, is this actually canon to the MCU, or is this just like a bonus clip type deal? And but it could really you could really flip a coin for that, to be honest, because whether it's canon or not, it is accurate to the comics as far as the multiverse goes.
And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think obviously it's always planned out. Marvel's very good at planning out like the stuff that they're going to do. But I think as a fan, you looked at What If and you were like, oh, this is going to be like a filler, like something to just kind of like feed us, to kind of keep us going until the Eternals, and then until Shang-Chi, and then until Spider-Man. But now I'm like, what if this series is really like going to be a canon thing that literally is Doctor Strange that we know, Benedict Cumberbatch, going through all of these realities and trying to fix them.
Yeah, this is just a different point of view on the Multiverse of Madness movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing a really, really good job.
Like,
I think,
like they're keeping us in suspense, but not in an annoying way. That's where Marvel definitely excels.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like except for the whole No Way Home situation, that's starting to get annoying at this point.
It is. But like as you say, they excel at stuff. I think you said it perfectly before when you said that Black Widow was just kind of there to like fill in the gaps, and I really feel like if that movie had just been released after Civil War, it would have just done so much better.
It really would have, to be honest.
It would have done infinitely better. I feel like, first of all, Yelena stole the movie.
She really did.
Yelena was the movie. I to be honest, I didn't care about Nat. I was like, meh, whatever. Like, oh, you fell down the building, great, you're okay. Of course you are, because like the plot. But yeah, she just the way she talked, and like the chemistry that she had with the cast, she stole the show, and I'm really, really glad that she's going to be coming back.
My favorite thing was seeing Denny Harbour as Red Guardian.
I thought he did great.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, I was curious about how his Russian accent was going to sound, and I was like, oh shit, this is dope. He definitely did it better than Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I thought the movie was okay.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't one that I'm.
And Taskmaster definitely needed more screen time.
I agree. I don't. I see a lot of people that are like, they ruined Taskmaster because they made it like gender something, and I'm like, okay, but that was what the context of the movie was about. Like it fit into the context of the movie.
Yeah.
Like she is who she is, and it's fine, and it doesn't really matter. Like I think Taskmaster would have been, again, like Marvel generally tends to do. They just suck with villains. They do great with the heroes. They suck with the villains.
I mean, sometimes they do good with the villains, but they mainly put their effort into the super villains, like Thanos and them.
Like, I mean, they killed it with Killmonger. I thought Killmonger was a great villain. I thought he was one of the more relatable villains. You actually saw his point of view, and you were like, okay. But then you have, like, I'm trying to think, Dormammu. Dormammu's supposed to be this freaking, like just
like borderline godlike being in his own dimensional domain, and then Doctor Strange is like, guess what? You're a puppet. Like,
yeah. Like he I don't know.
Like
I feel like they
even
don't do the villains justice.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. With that Dormammu scene in Doctor Strange, I had like a love hate for that moment because, like I said, like borderline god being in his own
Mm,
domain, and Doctor Strange just pops in there through a wormhole and says, "Guess what? You're my bitch," with a flick of the wrist, and then I'm like, that's epic, but at the same time, a lowball move. Like
yeah,
I honestly didn't know how to feel about that.
I don't know. I just
But I feel like
I wasn't.
Dormammu's gonna make a comeback though. If
You
he
think so?
if he doesn't, I'm gonna be upset. Cause you can't just. There's no way he just let him off that easy like that. Dormammu's pissed, okay?
That's
Cause
true.
he wanted Earth like hell.
That's true.
Yeah,
I haven't watched that movie in a long time. I should probably watch it again.
yeah. I mean, Doctor Strange was a great movie. They had great character building with him, and Tilda Swinton was phenomenal for that variant of the Ancient One.
Hmm.
And and but yeah, it was a really good movie. And if you think about it, like because like I said, Dormammu is basically unkillable because
Hmm.
he lives beyond time. He lives in a place beyond time. Anything that mortally wounds him, he like say you put a giant planet-sized spike through his chest. He literally pulled it out. In the comics, he got in a fight with Galactus. Galactus pull, Galactus basically put a hole in his chest with his own finger. He just pulled it out and broke the finger off and threw it across the universe. Like,
But, yeah, like I mean, he's. I don't know much about the magical side of Marvel
yeah,
because that was never really my jam. But yeah, he in the movie, I feel like they kind of like didn't really do him justice. You know, the
yeah.
whole movie was the build up, Dormammu, 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 and he finally gets there, and he's just like the CGI head who just gets pissed off.
Like,
So
I wish they put more emphasis on the children of Thanos, though.
like Ronan and Gamora,
No, I mean, well,
like Ronan, Gamora,
wait,
and
Ronan's not a child of Thanos.
yeah, he is.
No, no, he was just a vengeful Kree.
I
He,
thought he was. Oh,
yeah,
yes, you're right.
he basically made a deal with Thanos, but he lent out Gamora
That's
and
right.
Nebula. Like there was
Yeah.
Gamora and Nebula, they were like, it was them, and then there were like the four big guys from Avengers Infinity War. There was, Cole Obsidian, Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima Midnight. Like, yeah, they were called the Children of Thanos, also known as the Black Order in the comics. But
Mm.
but like that's the thing. Nobody knew their names. Their names were not said once
No, they were not.
throughout those movies. And Cole Obsidian, the big elephant dude, like that. And believe it or not, he actually played a part in explaining the whole 14,605 realities thing. Because my biggest pet peeve was 14,605 realities, and not a single one of them just involved cutting off his arms so he couldn't snap his fingers.
Mm.
And the thing, and Cole Obsidian actually played a part in that, because remember when he was trying to jump through the portal and Wong cut his arm off with it?
Mm-hmm.
And then he literally came back hours later with a new prosthetic.
Oh, that's right.
That's what they would have done with Thanos. Time
That's
and
true.
time again. No matter how many times they cut off his arm, they would have just done that.
Yeah, but what if you cut off the arm with the Infinity Gauntlet on it, and then take the Infinity Gauntlet and run?
See, that's the thing. His first priority will be to secure the gauntlet and then get his arms. And then the moment and all he needs is just like 1 minute at most to just put the glove on and snap his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Because the stones don't even need to be connected to your flesh. They just have to be connected to a vessel, a certain medium. And if that medium acts as like a bridge between the stones and the person using them, then that's where it works. That's the whole point of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I'm wondering if one of the millions of Kangs, will try to do that Thanos shit and bring back a different variant of the Infinity Gauntlet.
I don't think so. I think what's going to happen, I think what might happen is I don't think Kang's going to be the big bad guy. Like, I don't think he's going to be the Thanos. It'd be awesome if he was, because then you could see like so many different realities and things like that, and I'm sure the visual effects would be incredible. But I'm not. I think it's going to be Galactus. I really think that it's going to be Galactus
See,
because
that's what I was thinking too. Because what, like in the comics, wasn't Galactus like one of the big supervillains? Well, not just for the Fantastic Four, because you have Reed Richards, who's like literally a scientist in almost every degree, but primarily he's an aerospace engineer, and he went to space a lot, which is how he met up with people like the Skrulls, Silver Surfer, and when he met Silver Surfer, that's how he met Galactus.
hmm
And another thing is like, when does Silver Surfer come into the MCU?
if he even does come into the
If he
MCU,
does, but like, 'cause-
but they own Fox, so they'll probably get him in there. But I think Galactus might be the big bad. But I think what they're going to do with Kang is stretch him out through movies. He'll probably be like the Loki of this phase. Because remember, Loki was the original villain in Avengers. Well, I'm sorry, he was the villain, and then he was like the underlining villain because of the end credits. Then you see Thanos, and then
yeah.
it's the impending doom of Thanos throughout the whole three phases. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Kang is going to work like that, and even though he's so like smart and so like powerful and everything, I do think that it's going to be either Galactus or something to do with the X-Men
Ooh, yeah. That is another thing. Like,
because good.
because yeah, Galactus was actually one of the biggest enemies of the X-Men, because the X because the X-Men actually had a lot more connections to the extraterrestrial extraterrestrial variants of the Marvel universe than almost any of the other superhero teams in Marvel comics. Because
Mm-hmm.
like they showed in that Phoenix movie, there were those aliens that were trying to connect to Jean Grey and use her power, and you know that and fighting against those guys was how they ended up working with the Skrulls.
Mm-hmm.
And the Skrulls just have connects to everybody, but it doesn't surprise me because shapeshifters, and they work with Sword, the outer space station
Yeah.
Sword. And that's another thing. Like when we saw Nick Fury working with the Skrulls in the space station at the end of Far From Home. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, when the hell is he actually coming back to Earth? And that's what happened in WandaVision at one point with Monica Rambeau and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one
And they
Skrull
said
lady.
they say he wants to see you, and they were like, "Well, where is he?" And he's like, "You know where he is."
Yep.
Um, so I think the future of the MCU is. I mean, it's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
There's going to be misses. Like I always talk to people about this. Captain America, the first one was probably one of the most boring movies I ever saw. I didn't really find it too like I don't know. I was like meh, Captain America. But then Winter Soldier came out, and I was like, holy crap! They took this dull ass superhero and made him amazing. And then like it kind of hyped you up about it. And what is it? Dark World. I didn't really like Dark World. I know people who do
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Um,
People like Dark World is like one of the easiest ones to forget, but at the same time, that's like all the more reason to rewatch it, because it does lay out a lot of groundwork for those future events of the MCU,
mhm.
like upcoming with the Reality Stone, the Aether, and that's what set up that one event for Endgame with Rocket and Thor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really I understand why they need those movies, but those, in my opinion, those were misses.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to happen here. I think they're doing a great job with the shows and trying to incorporate those into the movies. And like, you have to watch the shows to like know what's going on in the movies. And it's just a really really smart play
Yeah.
to not only capitalize on people's money, but also to like.
Like
WandaVision was what, 9 episodes?
6.
No, no, no. I think it was 9 because Falcon and Winter Soldier was 6 and Loki
Oh
was
yeah,
6.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's just use Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's 6 episodes. So let's say each one runs at half an hour. That's still 3 hours. Same thing with Loki. WandaVision, let's say, I know that some of them run an hour, some of them run 45 minutes, but even if it's half an hour, that's still what 4.5 hours of like movie time that you can develop a story, and it's way more time than 2 hours. Even Infinity War and Endgame were just under three. Like,
Like my
it,
biggest problem with WandaVision was figuring out why everything was turning into a TV show, but then I realized this
it's
is just
Mephisto.
huh? Yeah.
It's Mephisto all day.
Yeah. It's really just this is what Wanda wants out of her life. She wants that sappy, corny life.
Mm-hmm.
She basically doesn't want to be an Avenger anymore. She just wants to live a simple, corny, cheesy life with her husband and twin sons.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that because of all the pain she's been through. Like she had her parents taken, her brother taken, and Vision taken, and until she took Vision back, more or less. And then yeah, that which was kind of horrifying. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that security camera footage, I'm like, she's about to fuck shit up.
And then she didn't. Like it was just what's his name's play to
The director of Sword,
to yeah, to get them to attack.
Tyler Hayward.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, that's it. Thank you. Um, I yeah, I agree with you. I think this is what she wanted out of her life, and like the only connection that she had for her life like that were those TV shows that she watched as a kid.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't know. I think they did a great job. My wife loved it. She thought it was a great show, and then I was like, all right, let's watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, and nobody in the house wanted to watch it. And I was like, well, F it, I'm just gonna watch it myself.
Yeah.
I thought they did great with that. I think they missed a little bit on stuff, especially with John Walker. Like they just forgot him. They were just like, oh, I'm sorry, they didn't forget him. They forgave him.
Yeah.
Like, no problem, buddy. You're good to go. And I was like, what? You messed up.
Like, no, like that's not how it works.
Yeah, at all.
Like,
And
I was happy that, I mean, I don't want to say happy, but I was like appeased that he was like stripped of the Captain America title
mhm.
for what he did. Because let's be honest, him being handed the title of Captain America was just a complete miss on that government's half, and you could see the amount of regret in Sam's eyes when he saw that on the news, like
Mhm.
like the amount of regret and hate, like not just on Sam but also Bucky. Like that is not what was meant to happen. Where was the TVA for that? Like what the?
No, that was supposed to happen apparently.
I mean, yeah, but even then, like at the same time, I'm glad that John Walker kind of like evolved sort of as a character to the point where he realized he shouldn't be so full of himself, and that's like a big thing for a lot of Marvel characters. Like
Yeah.
like you look at Iron Man, you look at Thor, Doctor Strange, all of them, they struggle with like vanity, selfishness, and not looking out for the little guy, and then through terror and trauma and going out into the world, they learn to be less selfish and use what power they have for the greater good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But only John Walker is swayed by negative influences, but he's still under the impression that what he's doing is for the greater good.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sounds very much like the place we live in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's kind of like what he's a metaphorical representation of.
Yeah.
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 Like,
1,000%. And it's I don't know. I think they did well with that show. I think their only miss was just kind of like, listen, you killed the man in cold blood. You did a lot of stupid crap. You are, kind of like a little bit off, unhinged. But you're okay, buddy. We'll keep you going.
yeah.
Um,
And also Zemo's character was amazing in that show.
I think Zemo and Bucky took the show.
They really did. And I'm not gonna lie, I expected Zemo to betray them,
Me too.
but I commend him for not doing that. And he actually honored the word that he gave.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that entrance around the that lab raid scene with the freight containers, and he came out with tool pistols and his mask. That
Yo,
was just
that
beautifully
was epic.
executed. That was just beautifully executed. I
I,
I love how they
I
pulled
really,
that off.
yeah, I thought they did really, really well. Zemo was a great character,
Yeah,
like 1000%. His chemistry with Sam and with Bucky were great.
they really were.
Um, I also didn't like the whole thing of Sharon Carter being the power broker. Like
Yeah,
it was kind of predictable, you know.
it really was.
And yeah, I'm curious. I saw a video saying that she was probably talking to the Kingpin
Oh yeah,
from Daredevil,
yeah.
and
Wilson
that
Fisk.
he
That
might be
was
coming back.
because that's the thing. Not a lot of people realize this, but one of those paintings that was up there was identical to the paintings that he was looking at in the museum from Daredevil.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not a lot of people notice that.
Hmm. I'm
And
gonna have to look that up.
yeah, and it makes sense because, he's an art. One of the first things that we are told when Wilson Fisk is introduced in the Netflix Daredevil show is that he's an art lover. He loves abstract paintings. He loves to collect. And what is Sharon Carter dealing in? Abstract paintings for highly wealthy clients.
That's true.
And I mean, I know there's probably a great amount of those for the Marvel universe, like a lot of abstract art collectors. But when she said that she mostly works with crime bosses, one of the first things that came to my mind in the Marvel universe was Wilson Fisk, because he's
Yeah,
literally one of the most infamous crime bosses in the Marvel universe.
yeah. I thought that was one of like those subtle little hints, and it's
Yeah,
good to see how they're like trying to bring those characters back.
yeah, they're just like leaving those breadcrumb trails for us.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
like that's like in a way that's where like those smaller movies work, like you said, Captain America and Dark World. Like
Hmm.
those are like the breadcrumb movies. Yeah,
I think that would be a good thing for them to do in the future, like bring those back because I feel like if Kevin Feige worked with a team to actually give Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Daredevil and even Iron Fist, because
yeah.
Iron Fist was just, in my opinion, I thought it was trash.
I didn't even watch Iron Fist, to be
I
honest.
watched the first season, and
The
it
Punisher
just
was great though.
the Punisher was good.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot,
yeah.
but
John
like
Bernthal plays a great Punisher.
but I feel like those characters would be good to like tie in like the everyday street stuff, you know, because like they take care of Manhattan and they are the defenders, and I feel like that stuff would be really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
Like if, in the hands of Marvel.
And what I would be excited to see is John Bernthal's Frank Castle Punisher as Ghost Rider, because that does happen in the comics. He becomes Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, but I feel like they should make a Ghost Rider just be Ghost Rider and then
Yeah.
have Punisher be Punisher.
Like I could
Um,
definitely see, like I would love for Ghost Rider to have his own movie in the MCU, because well actually I don't remember if they confirmed or denied whether or not those ABC Marvel shows were canon to the
they're
MCU.
not canon.
They're not. Oh, okay. Because
No, it's
that Rob
confirmed that
that
they're
Robbie
not.
Reyes Ghost Rider was actually not bad.
I heard that I didn't watch it, so I don't
Yeah.
know, but I heard that those were amazing.
Robbie Reyes was actually my favorite Ghost Rider of the three. So to see him adapted so well, it was amazing. Like,
Hmm.
but yeah, and it was in Agents of Shield, I believe, and
Yeah,
and it was just so well put together. So you felt his emotion and his regret with becoming Ghost Rider, but at the same time, you felt that he understood why he did what he did,
yeah,
and it was just so beautifully put together. But to see Ghost Rider pass on to Frank Castle, that's where I would geek the hell out, because I want to see a movie adaptation of Cosmic Ghost Rider punching Galactus in the face and knocking him unconscious. Because that happened in the comics when I read, I think it was Ghost Rider I don't remember which issue it was. I think it was Ghost Rider 48. But
Your guess is as good as mine.
yeah, but yeah, I want to see him fight with the X-Men against Galactus, because that was one of my favorite team ups ever, especially when Gambit came in.
Mm, Gambit is a great. Oh, speaking of X-Men, you know what I think is going to happen?
What's up?
I think in the Marvels movie, because they're going to introduce Ms. Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
I think they're going to introduce Rogue, and I think Rogue is going to take all of Carol Danvers' powers.
that that would be something. That would be
Because I keep hearing through the grapevine that Carol Danvers or that Brie Larson wants out of the MCU,
ah.
because I think she's going to go pursue a DC superhero thing.
I could definitely see her playing Supergirl or Power Girl.
Yeah, that's so I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to introduce Rogue, but I think they're going to have to introduce the X-Men first, so that you know who Rogue is, because we know who Rogue is from the X-Men movies, but she was so lame in those. She's not the Rogue that you know. And I think that her taking Carol Danvers' powers would just be the chef's kiss to not only get her out of the MCU as she wants, but also keep the what's the word I'm looking for, the continuity of like the comic books where she actually does steal Captain Marvel's powers.
Yeah, like that would be pretty. That would be pretty amazing. But at the same time, it would like there would just be so many people who would just find a reason to complain. Like, oh my god, that's a lackluster way to get rid of her. Like, well, what are you gonna do?
How else would you get rid of her? Like, she can't. She's so powerful. She punched Thanos. Or Thanos punched her in the face and did nothing.
Yeah, she didn't even flinch from a headbutt from Thanos. Like,
yeah,
it literally took the Power Stone alone to even make her
to knock her out. Like, so I'm sure people will find a reason to complain. But yeah, I think that would be like the perfect way to, if she does want to get out of the MCU, that I think that would be the perfect way to send her off on her way.
Yeah.
Gambit. Oh god, I can't wait for Gambit. I've always loved Gambit. I thought Gambit was like the coolest X-Men.
Gambit was my favorite X-Men character.
And yeah, like everyone loves Wolverine, because he's Wolverine. But god, I loved Gambit. Gambit was awesome.
Yeah. Like don't get me wrong, Wolverine is like literally the face of the X-Men, but as good characters go, Gambit, like between backstory, his power, and the way he just goes about doing everything he does with such swag, literally walking, talking swag in a trench coat and playing cards. Just, he's brilliant. And not a lot
Go ahead.
And not a lot of people understand how his power works. What he literally does is manipulate kinetic energy to his will, and he just happens to be really good at placing it in cards and using them as like throwing knives, as bombs, stuff.
I think I was just about to say that. I was like, his power is like one of the coolest ones. Like, he touches something and changes the potential energy to kinetic energy, and then that's what he does. So like, he can literally be running down a hall, touch like a box or something, just keep running and running and running, wait till you go by, and then boom, blow it up.
And even then, when he runs, like as his foot touches the ground, he's manipulating the kinetic energy in his shoe. Mm-hmm. So the shoe is actually pushing him forward even faster.
Yeah, I can't wait. They like
why did they cancel the Channing Tatum Gambit movie? Like,
well, because I don't know. To be honest, I don't really think that he would have fit the mold, because like, he's a little too muscular. Like, I feel like you need a lanky, muscular guy.
Yeah. Like the guy who played Gambit in X-Men Origins. Like, he was literally the best part of that movie.
Yes. Yeah, he actually would have been a perfect.
Yeah, Taylor Kitsch, that's his name. Yeah.
No. How do you remember all these names?
I'm really good. I love
Yeah,
movies.
You're crazy good with this stuff, man.
I love movies, dude. I almost never forget a name of an actor I really like.
Jeez.
Like, the only time I ever forget the name of an actor I really like, I watched the movie Concussion with Will Smith. I forgot that was Will Smith, because that's how well he fit that role.
I mean, that's another good actor.
But yeah.
Who? Okay, so talking about future projects, because obviously we already know that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is going to be a thing.
Yeah, and that's where Kang is going to make his other appearance in Quantumania, either in a quantum realm or maybe, for all we know, he could just pop into a timeline where they're just in plain day
Hmm.
in San Francisco and be like, yo, and then just zaps back out. Because Kang does do that. He'll pop in and out of different universes, just say hi, and then walk away, and then calamity just happens the next day.
Um, who do you think that they are going to cast for the Fantastic Four?
See, that's that's been pondering That's been pondering amongst Marvel fans.
John Krasinski, Reed Richards, John Krasinski, Reed Richards. It's like it has to be.
Yeah. I mean, John
He,
Krasinski as Reed Richards, Emily Blunt as Susan Storm. Like, I would love to
yeah,
see that.
but see, we can't do that now because of Kang, and that's fine. So, who do you cast for the Fantastic Four?
I mean, they could be distant cousins, but I mean, I don't know.
Basically,
Like, it depends on which Nathaniel Richards we're going with, because of all these Kang variants, like literally
that's
millions of
true.
Kang
That's true.
variants. Like,
Nathaniel Richards also becomes Iron Lad, and there was another one that happens.
and that was
I forget.
actually hinted in Loki, because there was that Iron Man helmet on the shelf in that desk room.
Oh, there was.
Yeah.
Is that the last episode, or is it the one where he meets the other Loki variants?
No, the one where they meet Kang and he goes into his like office, whatever it's called. And there was
Oh,
like an Iron Man helmet, there was a broken piece of an Infinity Gauntlet, and there was, I think it was a piece of someone's helmet. I couldn't tell if it was Heimdall's or Thanos's, because it was too broken, but that had to be an allusion to the time in the comics when Kang fought Thanos and literally melted his skull out of his helmet just by touching him.
Jesus.
I know. That's some Mortal Kombat shit. I'm like, what the hell happened here? I remember seeing that in a comic in my local library, and I'm like, oh. Like, you ever be in a library, read a comic, and then just scream out of nowhere? Just that's what.
No. I used to have to go to the comic book store to read them as
Yeah,
a kid.
but
I never went to the library.
I used to get kicked out of the library several times for screaming at comic books because too much epic shit happened. But yeah, but those are some serious hints. Like, those are the breadcrumbs that we're talking about. Like,
And they're very good at doing it.
and and a lot of people were talking about, like, remember Ty Simpkins, the little kid who was in that house in Minnesota in the garage in Iron Man 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were talking about him being one of
Being
the
Iron Lad.
Yeah, being one of the
Yeah.
Iron Lads. And when he showed up at the funeral, everybody was just like, "Who the hell is this kid?" And then it was like, "Dude, that's the kid from the garage in Minnesota." And they're like, "Damn, puberty hit him like a truck." And I'm like, "Well, that happens over the course of 5 years."
But yeah, but it also raises the question, like, do you how did he keep in touch with Tony?
Yeah,
Like,
and
did Tony?
yeah, that is also a big question. But, like, maybe Tony was just keeping tabs on him through his Iron Tech
Maybe.
in secret. But what I want to know is if he's gonna come up in Spider-Man: No Way Home, because that would be pretty cool to see him come up as like Iron Lad, or if he just
I
like,
am. I'm excited for that movie, but I'm also very worried for that movie.
yeah. There's so much that could go wrong, because like the premise of it is that Peter is just on the run, and because his identity was exposed by Mysterio, and he's probably got his friends with him wherever they are. His friends, his aunts, maybe Happy, and
Mm-hmm. So the leaks since everything has been Craven. So the leak of the script was he's going to be on the run, but then he gets arrested because he turns himself in. He's like, I'm not, I'm going to prove that I'm innocent, and then he gets the crap beat out of him in jail. because he's not going to fight in jail. You know, all these people like Vulture and Scorpion who are in there. You know, they're already trying to beat him up, and they alluded to that at the end of Homecoming. But then, are they going to tie it in the way that they did with like in the comic, where Kingpin was in jail and he literally just bitch slapped Kingpin and was like, "If you touch me again or if you do anything to harm my family, I will come in here and I will kill you." You know, that to me that was like an epic moment because it's Kingpin. Nobody messes with Kingpin, and you know he's fought Kingpin so many times, and he just kind of like pulls his punches. But this time he did not. He was like, "No, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you."
Yep. He's like,
And then,
no holds barred this time, Willie. Like,
yeah. And then the in the same leak, it was like he escapes, but then Craven is hired to hunt him down. So Craven is going to be one of the main villains, and he has to get a new suit because all of his suits are confiscated, and everything like that. So who does he get his suit from? Then one of
the Tinkerer.
Huh? A Tinkerer? You think so?
That would be my number one guess, because at the end of Homecoming, Mason, the guy who was building all the tech, he's the only one of them that escaped. Everybody else got caught. The Tinkerer is in hiding right now.
It's true. So, and then the other leak is that the multiverse is going to open up, and Norman Osborn, William Dafoe, is going to recruit Dr. Octopus, Electro, Vulture, Scorpion, and Rhino. And they're all going to try to take out Spider-Man. I'm going to assume because maybe he's actually Spider-Man Prime. And if they get rid of him, they get rid of all of the other Spider-Men.
Yeah. That would be a good way to go about it. Like, get the Sinister Six together, and then just like, you know, because the number one goal of the Sinister Six, and you have Doc Ock as the science division working the quantum physics and everything, trying to figure out, you know, the Spider-Verse in their case, and they're trying to eliminate as many Spider-Men as they can, and and because it's an infinite multiverse, they just keep coming back. But you know, Doc Ock has those arms controlling him, eating at his brain, poisoning his mind. They're just like, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Like he literally went for months without eating or sleeping in the comics because those arms just sustained him, but his body was literally wasting away.
I think that if all of that is the case, I think that they would do really well. I also think that they have a lot of potential to screw it up.
They do,
because that's if that were the case, that's 7 villains. Not only do you have to show how you meet them, you're also going to have to incorporate more heroes, which is the other 2 Spider-Men, which everybody, you know, like Toby and Andrew, yeah. But what if they don't show up?
See, that's one of the biggest headaches with the new Spider-Man movie right now, because the Spider-Verse, as the multiverse goes, the Spider-Verse is one of the most key elements to the Marvel multiverse. Because, like, if you look at comic book sales, everybody loves the Spider-Verse as the biggest aspect of the Marvel multiverse. Everybody, because Spider-Man is one of the most iconic superheroes in Marvel.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, different variations of Spider-Man in different universes, and each one has different powers, different variants, different weapons, different uses, different backstories. There's like literally a web of what could be with Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Penny Parker. And that's another thing I want to see. I want to see an MCU Penny Parker Spider-Mech. I want to see that.
That would actually be pretty sweet.
Yeah, because I would die to see a Spider-Mech in the MCU, and I want to know if they're gonna capitalize on Miles Morales being on, you know, the Tom Holland Peter Parker. I want to see if they're gonna capitalize on Miles Morales being in that current universe, because they already hinted at that with Donald Glover's Aaron Davis in Homecoming. Because remember he was apprehending. Yeah. I got a nephew who lived here. I was like, motherfucker, like, they're gonna bring Miles Morales. And then I remember they confirmed that the Tom Holland Peter Parker was the Peter Parker from Earth from Earth 616.
Is it 616? Because 616 is the main
Yeah,
timeline.
yeah,
All right.
616. And
So
then
then,
and that's the one where the Miles Morales of 616 is basically the really dark one. Yeah, he was the one that was robbing and stealing after his uncle and dad died, because either his mom died as she gave birth to him, or his mom died like while he was really small. I don't remember which one is the true one, but basically everybody he knows and loves was taken away from him. He was raised by his uncle for a little bit, and then his uncle got shot. Basically an Uncle Ben type deal. But instead of going,
except he went the wrong way.
yeah, he went the wrong way. He's the answer to what if Peter Parker went dark, and that was that Miles Morales.
I think what's going to happen with Spider-Man is this. I think the Sinister Six is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think they're going to figure out a way to travel between multiverses. And what they're going to do is they're going to take out Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they're going to go to Tobey's world, and they're going to beat the crap out of him, and he's going to somehow escape into the 616. And then they're like, all right, well, then Electro's going to be like, well, I got somebody. And then they're going to go to Andrew's, and then Andrew's going to do the same thing. And they'll both escape. And then they'll somehow find each other, and they'll be like, there has to be a Spider-Man here. Because maybe they'll find the Prime, and they'll realize that Tom is the Prime one, and if they get to the Prime, then all of them will cease to exist. So they go and find him, and then the three of them will team up to beat all six of them.
Yeah, see, that's the way to go about it, because that, like, everything would be organized, everything would be coming together in a very, well, organized way.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wouldn't be like there would be breadcrumbs, but there wouldn't be too few breadcrumbs to the point where it's just vague. You can't have everything be vague. You don't want people to be lost.
And I think they're going to do. I think what they're going to do is wipe everyone's mind in Tom Holland's. Like Doctor Strange is going to use some magic to wipe everybody's mind, so that nobody knows who he is, because Madam Web did that. You know, she erased everybody's mind, to like and went back in time and everything, just so that it was after Civil War, because he gave up his secret identity, and then everybody came after him, and then Civil War was over, but people were still coming after him, and then he ended up going to Madam Web and was like, I don't know what to do, because people were going after Aunt May, people were going after MJ, people were going after everybody that he loved, and they ended up killing them. And then he was like, I don't know what to do. So she said, I'll revert everything back to before you gave up your identity. But remember, all of the things that has happened until now will go back, and nobody's going to know who you are. And he was like, okay. Because I think what had happened was he finally had the life that he wanted, but everyone was like attacking him.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the case. And then we'll get the Spider-Man that we know, the one that can't handle like life and being a superhero.
Yeah. And that was like the biggest like struggle, and that was like one of the biggest struggles with Spider-Man as a character, because a young superhero, like, and mind you, he's not even 20 yet. And
can you imagine being 15 years old and having superpowers like that?
If I was 15 and had superpowers of any kind, no one would know.
Yeah.
No one outside of my household would know.
Not even them. I don't even think I could tell them.
No. Yeah, I have 4 younger brothers. They can't keep their mouths shut. Like, and besides, you already live in New York, and according to Marvel, that's like superhero central. So
yeah, exactly.
Like if the Marvel universe were real, no one would live in New York.
No,
that's where everything happens.
It's like Gotham. Why are you a villain in Gotham?
No.
Like, what is wrong with you? I wouldn't even like want to run a red light.
Try running a red light, and you just get some giant bat wing shaped boots stomped on your car. Just peeks through the window. Justice.
You got me, sir. You got me. Just here you go. Here you go.
But
I'm sorry I ran the light. Please don't beat me up.
But yeah, the Spider-Verse in the MCU is definitely going to be like like one of the biggest peaks to climb for the whole plot of the MCU. Because
Hmm.
like, and one of the things that made like the Spider-Verse movie Into the Spider-Verse so successful was, well, not only like the animation, the detail, because those were definitely huge key points in that movie, but the way that the characters were built and developed throughout the entirety of one movie, that's where it excelled. And you got to have good character building, because you can give us the villains that we already know and love because we already know their backstories, and that's what the MCU did with Spider-Man, giving him his own movie, giving him in Civil War. Because like they would have just been beating a dead horse if they gave us another
Hmm.
Spider-Man origin,
Yeah.
and but they still needed to build Peter Parker on a good basis, and that's what happened in that bedroom scene between him and Tony Stark. He was like, "Why do you
Hmm.
do this? Why do you do what you do?" And then he basically gave a speech that was the equivalent to what Uncle Ben told him: "With great power comes great responsibility. If you can do the
Hmm.
things that I can, and you
And the
don't,
bad thing happens.
they
It's
happen
your
because of
fault.
you." Yeah, and that is what that is literally what was happening with the second movie. Like there were moments where he chose not to do something. He chose to
Hmm.
just have a normal summer, and then shit went bad.
Hmm.
They happened because of you. You reap what you sow. That's what it happened.
It was a struggle for him
Yeah,
because being 50. Well, he's 15 in the show or in the movie. Being 15 and having superpowers, fighting villains, and then like trying to be a hero, and then almost dying because a building almost collapsed on you.
yeah,
You know, then you come to the realization that this is a lot more difficult than I thought.
yeah. And you bite off more than you can choose, but he just chews slower, and then just swallows it piece by piece. And but as a young hero, he's just constantly learning what it takes,
Hmm.
and I think that's what's going to happen with Iron Lad if and when they bring him in.
Yeah.
and and then like I said earlier with Miles Morales, there's definitely going to have to be some work done with that. So
I feel like a Miles thing would have to be in like a couple of years
yeah,
after everything's established, and then like I think they'll have to do like some kind of jump skip where Peter is like older, more mature, knows how to handle being Spider-Man. I think what they should do is how it was in the game, because the game did it perfectly. There's this Spider-Man who's been doing it for 14, 15 years, and he's done it perfectly. And now there's this 18-year-old kid who's got powers, and he doesn't know how to do anything, and Peter like tries to teach him, and then he's like, listen, I gotta go. I don't know if you played Miles Morales.
yeah,
Um,
I played a little bit of it. Yeah,
at the beginning he's like, well, I gotta go somewhere with MJ, and then he's like, oh, okay. And just like Peter grew up and learned from his mistakes, he had to do the same thing. And I think that's one of those like experience things over being taught.
yeah, like the thing about, and that's the thing with like every Spider-Man variant that there is in the comics, in the MCU, or in any other Spider-Man movies, there is, it can't be taught. It's literally learning on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And as is with every superhero, you got to learn on the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no grades, there's no written tests. You just got to go out there and try not to die, try not to get anybody else killed. That's the basis of it. It's
Unless you're
it,
Mark from Invincible.
unless you're Mark from Invincible. Oh God, but that guy just needs therapy. But fuck. But but yeah, like the upcoming multiverse, we have like so much to look forward to, so many
Oh yeah.
questions, and like they said in Doctor Strange, learning of an infinite multiverse, infinite dangers, and like if we were literally spoon fed everything that the Ancient One knew in one sitting, like, we would die. Our brains would melt and run out of our ears.
That's what she said. That's
Yeah.
what she said to him.
Yeah, you would run from here in terror. Like, literally shit your pants and run. Just go. But
I'm excited for the future of it, though.
yeah, like, I'm excited yet scared. I'm just really hoping that they put everything together at a nice even pace. But what to look forward to, like, with the movies that we already know, like the Eternals, because as comics go, I never read anything about the Eternals.
Me neither. I know nothing about them.
Other than the fact that they were just immortal beings that have been essentially watching over humanity like fairy godmothers, and making sure that we didn't fall into the ashes, pull us out of the mud if we needed their help. And what I want to know is their significance to all of this. Like, what is the upcoming fight? Because if it's the Eternals, immortal ancient celestial beings, kind of like Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy, similar to Ego. I want to know if there's what, 8 of them?
6? I don't know. 8. I think it's 8. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 8 of them. So if we need 8 of them, 8 celestial beings, who the hell are we going up against besides Kang the Conqueror?
Right, that's true.
Yeah, it has to be something greater than just a time parasite. I mean, don't get me wrong, a time parasite, when you factor in everything that the Marvel Universe has to offer as far as, like, villains' tools and timelines, Kang the Conqueror is definitely going to be hell to deal with. But it has to be something greater at hand than that.
That's why I think at the end of the day it will be Galactus, and Galactus is going to eat the world.
Yeah, like Galactus, he's like Galactus. What if Galactus and Dormammu team up like they did in the comics?
You know what would be even better?
What?
If it was Mephisto.
Oh shit!
I just want to say that because everyone in WandaVision was like, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto.
Everybody wanted it to be Mephisto, but holy shit, that would be terrifying. That would be terrifying. And also, that's another way to bring in Ghost Rider, because
that's true. Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
I mean, shit. There's literally so much that could happen, but like Disney and Marvel, they only have like so much to work with at the same time. And,
yeah, that's true.
But all we can really do is just sit, wait, and hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's all we can do.
Yeah. And another thing I want to, but let's talk about let's talk about how the Skrulls and Sword, let's talk about the part they're going to play. Because, like, Sword, Sentient World, well, I forget what the O stands for. Sentient World Operating Research Division. And right now, there's some on the ground, there's some out in space, but out in space is where the Skrulls are, with Nick Fury in them. And the main purpose of Sword, the space station, was to monitor all the extraterrestrial threats, like the Chitauri, who are now all dead because, Iron Man snapped them away. But next, there could be like, crap, I forget what they're called, but they were like an evil alien race that lived on Neptune. But beyond that, there's also, like you said, Galactus, and in some cases Mephisto, and other than that, the other Dark Celestials that could possibly be a thing.
There's just a ton that they could add to, and I'm sure that they will. And this is going to be like another 10-year process.
It really is. Like basically Marvel is repeating themselves with like streamlining everything with breadcrumbs. But what I want to know is how much significance will the previous movies hold?
I think it might only hold up to like knowing who a character might be and not having to like build off of them, not having to build them up. Like Hulk is going to be in the She-Hulk show, so we already know who Mark Ruffalo is and who Bruce Banner is. Like, we've seen him in everything.
Yeah.
So boom, there you go. We don't need
Or what
to
are or what if
but
they're
if you
gonna
haven't
bring?
seen
Yeah.
any of the previous ones and you're just like, oh well, let me watch this show about a lawyer like She-Hulk, then it's going to be a problem. But then also you get into like, what if Matt Murdock from Netflix shows up in She-Hulk? You don't know anything from that. So there's a lot. There's a lot that they can do. There's a lot that they could screw up on.
I mean, we got the Hawkeye series coming up. We got the Marvels. We got like well, wait. Aside from Hawkeye, are there any other Disney Plus shows coming up? I mean, I know we
Um,
got a Loki season 2 coming along the way.
She-Hulk and Secret Wars.
Secret Wars, that's what it is. And of course, What If. But
Mm-hmm.
but what I really want to see is who they're gonna cast for Fantastic Four and who their first antagonist is going to be.
Maybe it's gonna be Mole Man.
Yeah,
That
I don't know.
would be the easy out.
That would be the easy out, but at the same time, it would just be such a low ball in a way. Like Mole Man has shown to be a serious threat, but only when he's like boosted by like a certain villain. But I would love to see an MCU take on Doctor Doom.
I think that's what it's gonna be
Yeah, because
for them.
yeah, I would love to see Doctor Doom. I would love to see Modoc. I would love to
Oh
see,
god, Modoc.
I I would
Big
love
that's it.
I would love to see Modoc in the
Yeah.
MCU. But like him and let's talk about that's part from the Shang-Chi trailer where Wong was fighting Abomination.
Abomination.
Yeah, what the hell was that? Like that was unexpected, but now I have several questions.
I think the reason why Abomination is there is because he must have escaped and he needed a solace. And where better to go than what is that place that Sharon Carter owns?
Oh. Oh.
What was the name of that country?
Uh fuck.
Madripoor. Madripoor, that's right.
Yeah, she
So yeah,
she was in the
he
country of
finds
she was in the country of Madripoor selling abstract art to highly wealthy crime boss clients.
Kingpin.
Yeah.
So then he needs a place of solace, and what better place to go than Madripoor?
Yeah.
But why Wong is there is beyond me.
I mean, for all we know, he could just be there to apprehend Abomination and just, trap him in the mirror dimension. I mean, and and I like how they put more comic book accuracy to his design, like with the,
Mm-hmm.
with like the gilly ears and the scales, rather than
Yeah,
rather than just a fucking melting lizard that he was in the Incredible Hulk.
yeah. They did not do him justice. I mean, the movie's not about him.
Yeah,
Obviously it's about Shang-Chi, and the Ten Rings, and I love how they made the Ten Rings with like bracelets, but like
yeah.
power bracelets. I like that.
That that's
Um,
gonna be something to look at when that movie comes out.
I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and it and another thing. Wait, crap. What was I just thinking about? Oh yeah, like the leader, because they definitely foreshadowed the leader in the Incredible Hulk movie when the Hulk Abomination blood fell into Doctor Stern's cut on his head and his head started swelling up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the leader, I forget who he actually is the leader of, but I know he has affiliations with the Sinister Six. So I think that is who they're gonna probably get with, and that may or may not set up She-Hulk.
Again, like the amount of information that they're gonna throw at us is just it's gonna be insane.
It's God, like my brain is literally melting just thinking about this. Like I'm getting dizzy. I need some chocolate milk and a sandwich.
Stat.
Like hell, but God, we just got so much to look forward to, and like we have until it's either late August or mid-November till Eternal comes out, and then we got Spider-Man in December, and then Shang-Chi. It's so much.
Is that the order?
I think so.
Let's see. With TV shows. All right, so we have What If coming out soon. Then we have Shang-Chi and the Eternals in September.
Okay.
Or and the Eternals is November 5th. Spider-Man is December. Miss Marvel is late 2021. Hawkeye is 2020, late 2021, and Doctor Strange is in March.
Awesome.
That's all we have so far right
So,
now.
so Ms. Marvel is a Disney Plus series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be a movie, but yeah,
No,
that's
the Marvels.
yeah
The Marvels is going to be the movie.
yeah the Marvels is gonna be a movie, but yeah, we got so much to look forward to, so many questions, and Marvel better get their shit together and give us a trailer now. But yeah, this has been Nerdy Urges. Thank you for watching this epically epic episode. I'm Johnny Wolf. This is Spanish J. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.